The Hills Are Alive with number 38 in my Best Picture Marathon. Best Picture Marathon theme song. By the early 1960s, 20th Century Fox was in trouble. Box office revenues were way down. One of the most effective things the studios did to get people back in theaters was to produce epics that were way bigger than anything you could see on television. 20th Century Fox was producing an epic called Cleopatra, starring Elizabeth Taylor. Schedule delays, egos, and unprecedented actor salaries were causing the film to go way over budget. How do you solve a problem like Cleopatra? The leadership of 20th Century Fox panicked and decided to bring back their old head of production, Darryl Zanuck. Zanuck had been producing films independently in Europe since leaving 20th Century Fox a few years earlier, but they convinced him to come back and save the studio. Darryl Zanuck installed his son Richard Zanuck as the new president of the studio. They shut down 20th Century Fox for several months and restructured the whole organization. Cleopatra was released, but it had been so expensive that it took years for the studio to even break even on it. It was under this leadership that The Sound of Music went into production. The Zanucks originally hired William Wyler, the director of Ben-Hur, to helm this film on the recommendation of the screenwriter Ernest Lehman. But Wyler's heart wasn't in it, so soon he left the project. He was replaced by Robert Wise, who had just directed Best Picture winner West Side Story a couple years earlier. The Sound of Music is a heavily fictionalized account of the real-life Von Trapp family. The movie was based on a very popular stage musical by Rodgers and Hammerstein. Mary Poppins had not yet been released, so Julie Andrews wasn't a huge movie star and hadn't won her Oscar yet, but she plays the role of Maria, who's in training to become a nun, but seems to be kind of a problem at the Abbey. So the Mother Superior assigns Maria to go and be the new governess for the 7 children of Captain Von Trapp, a super uptight naval officer who's recently been widowed. At first, the children resist Maria, but she soon wins them over with music. And of course, this is all set against the backdrop of the Nazi annexation of Austria in the late 1930s. The movie was shot on location primarily in Austria, and the cinematography is gorgeous. Upon its initial release, the film got very mixed reviews. Some critics loved it, others thought it was sappy and shallow. Captain Von Trapp is played by Christopher Plummer, who also thought the movie was sappy and shallow. He hated that this was the film he was best known for. He is quite good in the picture, as are most of the other cast members. Julie Andrews is radiant. During the first half, the children frequently mentioned spiders. Well, one of the Von Trapp kids was played by Nicholas Hammond, and in the 1970s, he played Spider-Man. Despite the mixed critical response, The Sound of Music made so much dough. A deer. A female deer. It surpassed Gone with the Wind as the highest grossing film of all time, and of course The Sound of Music won the Oscar for Best Picture. The success of The Sound of Music inspired more musicals from 20th Century Fox, most of which were box office bombs. Darryl Zanuck eventually retired, and Richard Zanuck went on to produce great films at other studios. I've seen this movie a number of times, and I generally like it. On this viewing, I was actually surprised I had forgotten how many of the songs in the second half were merely reprises of songs that came from the first act. But there are a lot of great songs. Many of the songs came to be very closely associated with Julie Andrews. Years later, when she appeared on The Muppet Show, she performed The Lonely Goat Herd. In The Sound of Music, the song was performed using marionettes. But on The Muppet Show, they didn't bother with puppets. Anyway, The Sound of Music has gone on to become one of the most beloved and iconic Hollywood musicals ever made. While it's not necessarily one of my personal favorites, I do like the movie quite a bit. Next up, A Man for All Seasons. Until then, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.